Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving headfirst into a world of pure sensory intrigue to unpack what is, without a doubt, one of the most polarizing and legendary creations in modern perfumery. We're talking about Black Afgano by Nascimato. Crafted by the renowned perfumer Alessandro Gualtieri, this is a fragrance that doesn't just, casually enter a room. It completely owns it. It's an iconic niche masterpiece that has sparked endless debate, fascination, and absolute devotion among fragrance enthusiasts worldwide. Our goal today is to look directly at the data, the scent profiles, and the performance metrics from the source material to demystify exactly what makes this scent so uniquely captivating.
Here's the roadmap for our journey today. First, we'll look at the dark fragrance legend. Then we'll be unpacking the smoky profile, looking at extreme longevity and performance, figuring out exactly when and where to wear it, and finally, getting to the final verdict. All right, let's jump in.
Section 1. The Dark Fragrance Legend, an iconic niche masterpiece. Now, the source material describes this fragrance's core identity perfectly, calling it, quote, mysterious, dark, smoky, resinous, and woody. Look, this is definitely not your typical department store fragrance. If you're looking for something that smells like fresh citrus, sea breezes, or sugary sweetness, yeah, you were in the completely wrong place. Black Afgano leans masculine, though technically it's unisex, and it's entirely designed to be this moody, artistic creation. It's all about making a luxurious, wildly confident statement. The reputation preceding this little bottle is one of pure, unapologetic depth. And as we're going to see, that reputation is entirely earned. So let's see how this actually builds when you spray it on.
Section 2. Unpacking the smoky profile and its evolution on your skin.
So, the absolutely crucial thing to understand about high-end niche fragrances is that they tell a chronological story. They aren't just linear. Black Afgano goes through 3 very distinct phases. Right at minute 1, you get the opening, which is rated a solid 9 out of 10 for its sheer boldness. It just hits you with this dark green cannabis accord, herbal notes, and a slightly medicinal earthy smoke. Honestly, it's designed to surprise you. Then, moving into hour 1, we reach the heart, rated at 9.5 out of 10. That initial shock smooths right out into deep earthy accords, rich woods, resins, coffee, and tobacco. It becomes incredibly smooth and totally addictive. Finally, by hour 4 and beyond, we hit the dry down, a literal perfect 10 out of 10 experience dominated by oud-like woods, amber, soft smoky incense, and warm musk. But what does all of that actually feel like?
To really wrap our heads around this, we need to translate those literal fragrance notes into something we can all visualize. Let's break down this bold, intimidating, smoky scent profile using some simple analogies. First, that intense opening with the cannabis and incense. Think of it like stepping into a mystical forest right at midnight with a crackling campfire blazing right in front of you. It's green, it's smoky, and it's wildly atmospheric. Then, as we transition into the heart with those rich woods and coffee nuances, imagine you've moved indoors. You're sitting in this plush leather chair in a private dimly lit study sipping a perfectly pulled shot of dark espresso. Very rich, earthy, and refined. And finally, that perfect 10 out of 10 dry down with the oud and warm musk, that is exactly like wrapping yourself up in a luxurious, smoky cashmere blanket. Heavy, creamy, comforting, and just incredibly luxurious. It's a full journey from the wild outdoors right into pure, sophisticated comfort.
Section 3. Extreme longevity and performance. Now, let's look at the hard data behind the scent.
Yes, you are reading that number correctly, 24 to 48. When we shift from the sensory experience over to the actual hard numbers, the performance of Black Afgano is literally off the charts. On your skin, this fragrance will typically last 10 to 14 hours, sometimes even longer depending on your unique skin chemistry. But on your clothes, it is often detectable for 24 to 48 hours, maybe even more. If you spray this on a heavy winter coat, it's going to stay there for days. This massive number is exactly why it earns a flawless 10 out of 10 for longevity.
Which perfectly leads us into the overall performance breakdown. While longevity gets that perfect 10, let's look at projection and sillage, which both score a very strong 8.5 out of 10. Projection is essentially how far the scent pushes off your body. Black Afgano creates a very noticeable scent bubble for the first 2 to 3 hours. It's definitely strong, but importantly, it isn't overwhelmingly loud or choking, assuming you apply it correctly, of course. Sillage, on the other hand, is the scent trail you leave behind when you walk. At an 8.5, this fragrance leaves a rich, smoky trail that people walking behind you are absolutely going to notice. It announces your presence with real authority, but it does so in a very sophisticated, mysterious way.
Section 4. When and where to wear. The rules of engagement.
Because of that immense power we just talked about, Black Afgano earns a remarkably polarizing versatility rating of just 6.5 out of 10.
Now, you might be wondering, why such a low score for such a highly rated scent? Well, there's a real paradox here. You must absolutely avoid wearing this on hot summer days, in tight office spaces, or, crucially, in hospitals. The intense, smoky, resinous nature of this scent will become completely overwhelming and frankly inappropriate in high heat or sterile close-quarter environments. However, if you deploy this in cold weather, during evening wear, at formal dinners or upscale events, it is absolute perfection. It's a specialized tool. Think about it. You wouldn't wear a tuxedo to the beach, right? Well, you shouldn't wear black Afgano in the summer sun.
Section 5. The final verdict. Is the hype actually real?
Let's pull all of this data together into one final scorecard. The objective ratings drawn directly from our source material are just staggering. Scent quality, 10 out of 10. Originality, 10 out of 10. Longevity, 10 out of 10. Even with that polarizing 6.5 in versatility dragging the average down a little bit, it still achieves a massive overall score of 9.4 out of 10. It also pulls a very respectable 8.5 for compliments, largely because people who enjoy dark, niche fragrances will be absolutely captivated by it on you. Now look, it's worth noting that a bottle of Black Afgano is quite expensive, but because the performance is so explosive, you only ever need to use 2 to 3 sprays per application. That means a single bottle represents incredible value, simply because it's going to last you a very, very long time.
Which brings us to our final thought for this explainer. Black Afgano is definitely less about mass appeal and much more about making a highly distinctive, sophisticated statement. As we've seen today, if you just want a fresh, everyday scent to wear to the gym or the office, this is absolutely not the choice for you. But if you appreciate deep, smoky, resinous art, if you want a fragrance that evolves from a crackling campfire into a luxurious cashmere blanket, then the question remains, are you ready to make an unforgettable statement? I'll let that question linger. Thank you so much for joining me on this scent journey today, and as always, keep seeking out the extraordinary